Hello everyone. I'll try to do a video about how to work with MotionGen and some useful features that are going to be super helpful to our project. First of all, this is the loading screen on MotionGen. First, make sure that your units are correct. My group measured the assembly in centimeters, so please make sure that everything is going to be in centimeters, or if you did it in inches, make sure your MotionGen is in inches. How to change that? Well, click here at settings, units, and change to whatever you want. The five main tools that you're going to use are these. Now let's start with drawing a link. First of all, draw the link that you want to be grounded. Let's ground it here and here. You can actually delete the green one. Now we can start drawing our 4-bar linkage. Of course, I'm doing a very quick sketch right here, just to show you guys. So I drew one. Always start at the pins. If I don't do that, you guys are gonna see that it just doesn't attach. But how do I fix this? Well, I click here into the select arrow and just drag it into here. To make it move, what do? I click where I want it to be rotating. I click on the joints and click Add Rotary Actuator. And here I can control the speed. Now you see these three buttons popped up here, and also the line of motion. So that's basically the gist of it. If you want to add a slot to your 4-bar linkage, you can either create a whole new link using the draw slotted link, or let me Ctrl Z here, or you can just add slot to the previously drawn links. Another useful feature is here it's the draw cylinder, which is a feature that it's gonna slide back and forth. It's also important to note that this button is pretty useful if you have your design finalized, and you don't want to, whenever you click the pin, you don't want it to change around the lengths and everything. If I want it to be exactly this way, I can just lock it, and every time I click onto it, you see it's not going to do anything. Okay, so let's do it once more. Here it is. Good. I hope everyone did the CATIA design, and if you do all the measurements correctly, if you click here onto the 3 little dots, you can change the coordinates of every point. So let's make this x equals -5. It's gonna shift 5 into the left, and so on and so forth. Okay, let me pull up the original linkage that I drew. You see how it does this path right here? What can we do about it? Well, if you're struggling to create a new design, there's a very useful feature in MotionGen that's going to create 30 designs for you that closely match the path you draw, and then you can just figure it out from then. How do you do that? Well, go here into Panels, Path Synthesis, and now you gotta select what kinds of systems do you want. Well, here in this class we're only using 4-bar linkages, so just select the 4 bars. But if you wanted to go fancy, you could do an 8-bar, a Stephenson 3. To be honest, I don't really know what that means, but let's just stick to the 4-bar here in this video to keep it short. Now you're going to click here on draw path and just literally draw the path. Just overlap your mouse onto it. Okay. And click run. Now the magic is happening. The MotionGen is loading up, and it's going to create 30 designs for you that closely match this. So here is the first design. Well, as you can see here, the underlying blue line, it doesn't really fully match a circle. That's not a problem because of two reasons. Well, first, you got other 29 designs, but if you really wanted to stick with it, you can just click here on the select tool and just mess around with the designs and the links and the shapes and sizes. Oh, look at it. You see how it now creates a full loop? Let's see how it works. Okay, all right. Here, now I'm just scrolling through all of the motions, all of the designs it does. Look at it. Some of them are pretty weird, some are not. Just for the sake of it, let's do a Nate bar link to see how it works. Look what it generates. How crazy is that? Okay, all right. Let's go back to our 4-bar linkage here. Let's say I really like this design, okay? Let's say I really like, actually, maybe this design. Okay. Let's analyze this design further. How do I draw graphs about it? Well, there is also a very good tool here, which is you go back into panels. First of all, I'm going to teach you guys how to use joint graph and then link graph. So joint graph, obviously, you can only click on some joints. So let's click here on yellow bits and gray bits, right? Let's analyze this joint right here, which does this motion, right? Which is the one we're most interested in. So I clicked on it, and you'll see these three graphs show up: the displacement, linear velocity, and linear acceleration. That's all wonderful, right? Because it gives you all the information you need on every single design that it shows you. And if you click here on the three little dots, you can download it as a PDF and download it as an Excel sheet. Now, it is very useful to download it as an Excel sheet and just do the graph yourself, because you're gonna be able to change the designs and change whatever. I'll show my Excel sheet right here. While it's loading up, I'll show you guys the design I chose. Me and my group chose. Go into modified linkage, and here's our linkage. I labeled this joint A, and now let's look into the plots. Here is joint A, displacement, linear velocity, linear acceleration, and Dr. Walk wanted me to do the jerk, which is the next derivative. So it's just dA dt. And how do you do that on Excel? Well, you subtract F3 from F2 and divide it by the time. You divide it by the time, A3 minus A2, and then you're going to get the instant slope of the velocity. And see this little square dot here on Excel? If you just drag it along, it's going to propagate this function. And this one's going to be F4 minus F3 divided by A4 minus A3, and so on and so forth. Here is the graph for joint B, joint C, the bar BX, which is L2. and also the bar ABC, which is the big Dorito bar. Now, how did I get the graphs for the bars? Well, link graph. You click on them and it gives you. This way, it's a pretty powerful tool to compare to your original linkage, and it's pretty easy to later draw it into CATIA. Overall, that's pretty much it. That's all I got. And if you want to see your motion in 3D, you can click on that button and it's going to show you the motion in 3D as well. I hope this is useful, and I hope this makes our project a little less stressful. Thank you very much.